Hollywood Bowl in July. This sounds like an invitation to a date.
Oh, I hope some of you might try to come. There's one of our children's books called Simeon's Gift. And it's a little book that my daughter and I wrote together. It was great joy to write. It's about a musician, a minstrel in olden times, who loves a beautiful lady of noble birth, but he feels unworthy of her and can't ask for her hand in marriage, and her father wouldn't give it anyway to a commoner. So he decides that the only way to better himself is to go out into the world and seek the knowledge that he craves. And he does, and through the kindness of people and in the grace of nature and by the experiences that he has along the way, he finds his muse and is able to become a composer. And it was adapted last year into a small musical for children's theatre, and it will be in fact traveling across the country next September, I think, of 2009 in small children's theatres, regional theatres, university theatres, and so on, I hope. But while we were doing it and workshopping it, it was suggested that it would make a beautiful symphonic piece, much like Peter and the Wolf or something like that, and that if I would narrate it, it would really hopefully be something. So the evening at the Hollywood Bowl, it's July the 18th and 19th, and I'm nervous as all get out about it because it's brand new, but the evening's called The Gift of Music, and in fact it's the gifts of music, old and new. And the first half is dedicated to beautiful Rodgers and Hammerstein music with 5 guest vocalists joining me. I won't be singing because, as you know, I don't anymore, sadly, but I'll be hosting, I'll be narrating stories, and then in the second half of the evening, the new gift will be Simeon's Gift, which I will narrate in total, and it runs about almost 50 minutes, and it's beautiful music by a wonderful composer friend of mine called Ian Fraser, and the lyrics are by a glorious lyricist and writer, a musician called John Bacchino. His new musical, A Catered Affair, just opened on Broadway. So I'm lucky, and I think it's glorious music. I hope you'll come.
It was part of you for so long. Did you think you'd ever find a new voice on the page like this?
No, I didn't, and it was left to my daughter that I write with, because I was obviously in some depression for a long time and shock, and I miss it dreadfully, especially the glory of singing with an orchestra, which is like nothing you can imagine. It's so wonderful. But she said, Mom, you don't realize you've just found a new way to use your voice through your books. And indeed, we try to package our books because we're so passionate about literacy and the arts, and we try to package the books with CDs when we can, with good art when we can, and it's some compensation, I have to say, and everything sort of fell into place and made me work harder on our book collection. And if anybody's interested in the children's books that I write, you can go to www.julieandrewscollection.com and it'll tell you all about it, and the thing at the Hollywood Bowl.
We have 2 sisters here from Bakersfield. Karen is a Disneyland tour guide. Christy is here for her birthday, and they want to know your favorite memory of Walt Disney.
Favorite memory? Well, one of them was, of course, his coming backstage, because he was, just meeting him for the first time, he was a twinkly, sparkling personality. But one day we did publicity photographs at the studio, and oh, actually, this is not my favorite memory. I'll tell you. All I was going to say is that we prepared a sort of fake afternoon tea together, and while the photographer was shooting, we had a wonderful afternoon tea together. But my favorite story about Disney is he took me personally to see Disneyland, my first ever trip with Tony, my husband, and we drove around in a little golf cart, and you can't imagine the effect that Disney had on people. I mean, people tried to pluck at his sleeve, they called out to him, God bless you, Walt, we love you, Walt. I mean, I think probably Walt Disney is the most famous name in the whole world. I mean, certainly, anywhere you go, somebody would have heard of that name. And we stopped in front of what was, in those days, the Swiss Family Robinson tree, and And it's now something else. There's another tree. But,
Her name is
okay. But he told me how many leaves it had on it and what it took to make it, and so on and so forth. Then he stood and looked at it. He said, with a twinkle, and they say only God can make it.
Oh, here's such a critical one. You look absolutely wonderful. Who does your hair and makeup?
I'm blessed. I travel 90% of the time when I do lectures or I go out on the road and talk to people. I travel with 3 marvelous gentlemen, and they are becoming quite famous on the YouTube now and on the website as my 3 best bad boys. And they are 3 gentlemen. One is a very famous entrepreneur and hairdresser. His name is John Isaacs. And then I have a wonderful gentleman that does my makeup and has done my makeup since the movie, I think it was Little Miss Marker, and subsequently has done every one of them since then. A lovely man called Rick Sharp and Steve Sauer you just met. And when those 3 guys get together, look out. They're great bad guys, but so professional and so dear. And if any of you are coming to a book signing later, you'll see them there.
Just a couple more. One from a teacher who said that you have succeeded in so many ways in spite of the adversities put before you. For so many young people today, they face different sorts of adversities. What one piece of advice do you think would be best for them to keep them motivated, to keep them hopeful?
Well, hope is such a wonderful word, and optimism. I've always seen the glass half full. And actually, talking about my experiences today, you can all see that though life was tough, I've had the most blessed existence. I mean, to have the breaks that I've had, I think I am truly lucky. I just hope that they are as fortunate. And I think if you have ambition, which I used to think was a bad thing to have, and I don't. It's not, as long as you don't trample on people, as long as you're not cruel. Ambition is what fires you up and what gets you going. And if you're passionate about it, go for it. And because if you focus long enough on something, something's going to break along the way. And a very wise man once said to me, you know, a lot of people don't know what they'd like to be or what they'd like to do, but you know roughly that, let's say you have a whole pie, you know that one section of that pie, if you're the center of it, you're interested in the arts, you're interested in singing, you might be interested in biology or geology, but maybe you're not interested in being a plumber or an engineer or something like that. So there's your triangle. And any way you shoot from there, you really can't go wrong as long as you're passionate about it, because your road will do this, but you will find yourself one day, hopefully, where 90% of the time anyway, where you hoped to be, especially if you can keep that good hope and some charity and kindness along the way. And be grateful, because people are kind if you let them be.
And the last question from Austin in Studio City, and full points, Austin, for spelling. Can you still say supercalifragilisticexpialiedocious backwards?
Yeah, I tried to spell it once and I got it wrong. I can say it backwards, and that is docious expialistic fragilisticexpialiedocious.